Hello, so this is a tour of a learning project I built in order to learn how C# and the .NETCore framework works. I'm redoing this video because my other video had no sound problems. So yeah, let's see if this works. So for authentication, what I used was the identity libraries from Microsoft. It's their home built library. This is a purely server-side application as well. I forgot to mention that. So there is no Angular used. It's all server-side, which makes it easier to build in general because there are less considerations. So as you can see, this is a food catalog in which I can food. So I see spice ice, I click on it. However, since that is a protected page, I cannot access it without logging in. So let me use my username. So now I can see the details of that item. I can create a new item. And I see this is a configurable greeting, which is stored in a JSON file, as shown here. From here, framework generated a database table, which I'll show you momentarily. Loading. Anything. This is the actual migrations by the entity framework. So of all migrations that were done. So if you have different application versions deployed on different vendors, it will bring it up to the same point automatically. It takes care of all the migration details for you. In some companies, they have entire teams dedicated to pulling this off and performing these deployments. For the identity libraries for authentication, and here is the table that has a list of things I mentioned. So let's go through the code. Here's my router. I define how the actual URL routes users to different pages. Here, the class configure, I'm defining my middleware. So middleware is basically something that runs during a request made to the server from the user. So I have a logger running. I tell it to use the identity framework for authentication. I add the middleware that allows it to access files on the computer, and I also add the MVC libraries so that it understands and how to deal with it. Here are my services. What classes I'm using, and I could also define whether what design patterns I want to use for those particular classes. For example, add saying that there will be one object available for all instances of users connecting to this application. So rather than rendering different instances, it's going to render one. Dependency injections used, so I created an interface, and then I'm specifying what class to call whenever that interface is used. That way you can swap it out easily later on. And I'm also saying the different services I want available. And here's where I'm accessing the JSON file. I guess that's about it. There's nothing special that I haven't explained before. I used annotations in my models in order to specify constraints. 256 for my username. I have data type right here. There's the error messages when those this before my Angular projects in order to understand how it works. The .NET core libraries. Okay, so that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed it.